What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again. I had some sort of weird thing going on, so I'm actually re-editing this or going through and re-recording it because just something completely screwed up on the video playback. The audio didn't want to work. Everything just seemed to be failing on me. So let's go ahead and talk about version 0.16.1. That is the hot fix for 0.16, the last fairly big patch which fixed the elephant and stuff. We just talked about that about a week ago. Pretty cool stuff added in this one. This one mainly concentrates on fixes. There is a couple of additions or changes that are a little bit bigger that people have been waiting on. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So this is the only thing in the added category. New supply pods for the MA37 and MA5C. So those can be spotted down there. They are just the standard ammo pods that already existed previously. They just now have a variant that has the MA5C and a variant that has the MA37. Pretty neat stuff. Always welcome additions is just getting, a few more toys like that available for the sandbox. Big one for a lot of people, the HEV drop pod. Sounds were not, well, HEV is human entry vehicle, so saying that in drop pod's kind of repetitive. Anyways, the sounds were not ending properly when you hit the ground unless you hit water. That's been fixed, so that's been a big one that a lot of people are probably waiting on, so there it is. Let's see here. Optray content not showing Zeus, another very big issue with this last patch. And an update caused that or whatever. That's been fixed. Very exciting stuff if you're a content creator, Zeus. I know a lot of new units are doing stuff right now. That's going to be a big thing for them. M90 caused muzzle flash floating. So that one I can show you guys pretty quick here. So let's actually get the proper shotgun selected. I do have the regular M45 selected. So this one you can see there's a muzzle flash coming out of the barrel. It was not there in the proper location. So fixed. Clipping on Skyline Tower. Let's forego going into the editor to show off the clipping there. Just with that being said, clipping on Skyline Tower is fixed, so that's a nice addition. MA5 backup irons misaligned. Now this one I'm not 100% positive which MA5 this is on. I believe this is regarding the MA5B and C standard variants with the iron sights. I'm not 100% positive on that though. So there's that. I'm assuming that's the correct one that's had changes. Could be referring to the A. I am uncertain. M392 DMR materials were missing has been fixed. So the M392 is of course the old DMR. There that is. That's proper materials assigned to it. That's been fixed. Some weapon shadows were missing. I don't know which weapons those were. It has been fixed, it seems, or at least most of them have. That's actually not part of Optray, so we can ignore that. But yeah, so that's something they've apparently gotten squared away, is the weapon shadows. They've made some tweaks. So you guys may have noticed this while I was jumping around weapons, is the MA5C has been made more gray. Of course, that was a complaint of a lot of people, is that the MA5C looked almost exactly the same as the B. Now, I will say it could still be more silver if I want to nitpick a lot. But with that being said, this is definitely a lot better looking with the additions. It's just from a distance, it does still look fairly similar. Like, there's definitely a difference between them, but it's still fairly hard to identify them from a distance. This is just as far as I can zoom out with personal arsenal, so I could potentially get further away, not be able to recognize what weapon this is. But yeah, definitely it's a nice shift there, and I'm hoping that's just, them redoing the textures. I know a lot of the issues that they had with that, looking the way it did, was a materials issue. Arma didn't like the materials they had selected between the weapons, so I'm assuming that this was probably just a retexture to fill that until then, because it looks, the material looks pretty much the same to me, just brighter. Change SmartLink optics, original intent. So I'm not exactly sure what this one's referring to. I'll be honest, I don't know what the change is. Somebody's going to tell you guys in the comments below. I'm 99% certain of that. Current iteration of the optics has them in basically is an add-on like this, is what it puts on there. It shows up. Interestingly, if you have the SmartLink scope, I just noticed this, it actually has the MA5B coloring for it. So that basically, it works like an add-on like that. Okay, so I guess this is what the SmartLink is. So this is what they were talking about. I didn't actually go in with the optics for it. So when you go into the SmartLink, you basically go in, and it zooms in like this. Instead of having that circle cut out around the screen and the crosshairs like it was originally, you actually get, basically zooms in and it looks like a SmartLink. I actually really like that. That is a lot better that way. Very cool stuff. That is a beautiful addition. That is probably the best iteration of the smart scope, the SmartLink scope yet. You know, at least since my personal favorite since then, which was the original ammo counter looking SmartLink scope, which looked like it was just pulling up a video on the ammo counter section, and you were just looking at the video or something. It was basically what it looked like it was supposed to be designed to do. And I just want to check one thing here because I wasn't really paying attention. So yeah, it actually changes the crosshairs normally, and that was something I think it wasn't doing in the last patch. So that's pretty awesome. That's actually one of my personal favorite updates. Let's see here. HEV default speed reduced to accommodate new changes. So that was another big issue with the patch. They were having some physics issues with the drop pods. The speed's been changed around so that by default they should work, no issues. Tweaked armor values in preparation for complete rebalance of damage scale. Now, they are requesting feedback on this, so head to the Discord, head to the Reddit, let them know your thoughts on the armor and how it should be balanced. With that being said, just bear in mind, they are planning to go in and rebalance all of the armor, so that is something to worth being noted. Give them feedback on how the armor is currently handling. But just bear in mind that they are looking to change it further in the future. And lastly, the last patch note, but we do have more to discuss after this, after the actual patch notes for the mod. Increased flight speed of unguided rocket munitions slightly. So basically there's an advantage to using unguided rockets versus guided rockets all the time, which is that the rockets will move faster. So I'm going to switch screens here for just a moment, guys. I do apologize about that. Let's get this pulled up. That is not the correct thing I need to be in. Okay, so we've got a number of pictures, a number of things to talk about here, which are things that are currently work in progress. So the first thing we've got is a bunch of OpCan stuff, all sorts of OpCan stuff that Burgess has been working on. He said currently the current OpCan update is on hold until he gets another side project he's working on done. He is currently working on more barriers for the game, kind of based off of, it looks like a Halo 3 style model, perhaps. Maybe it's Reach. I'm not 100% certain which variant this particular one's from. Still really, really cool stuff. He's working on a ton of new uniforms and stuff. He's working on like airborne guys. He's working on insurrectionists. He's got snow variants of his new CGA guys, his Colonial Guard guys. IDAP, if you guys have played the Laws of War DLC, you should be familiar with IDAP. They are the civilian organization in the new DLC. He's working on a Halo version of that, so civilian stuff is getting added in. That's new Pelican, new Warthogs. It looks like possibly some new IDAP gear that he's worked on. He's got a further update for his backpack that he was working on, newest version of that, so that's pretty neat. And then lastly, probably the biggest thing is he's working on defensive turrets based off the one scene in Halo Wars that he's working on. Oh, and speaking of turrets, he does actually have one other thing. In addition to the Halo Wars turrets, which look really cool, he's also made another slight adaptation to his M247H static turret, which is a shieldless version for different factions. Okay, so what else do we got? We've got the MA5K G2, whatever it ends up being called. Name's still up in the air for this one a little bit, but this is the Optray CC, formerly Optray M is what it was known as. Basically, they are working on that, and they're getting really close to finishing it, sounds like. So it's looking really good. They just need to get it finalized, working game properly, and we will have a new one from that mod. Speaking of the MA5K, Zephyr Souza, who's worked on the original MA5K and the M395, is working on additional optics for the M395. She's adding 2 more new scopes. I believe one's like an EOTech and then one's like an ACOG type scope or something, it looks like. Both of those are still pretty work in progress. I'm not sure when we'll see those in the game. At the rate Zephyr works, it could very well be very soon. Aberys is getting an update. We've got one thing to show off for that. That is the new Air Force base. The military base will also be getting an overhaul and probably more of the map going into the future. But the new Air Force base looks really awesome. It's a lot bigger, probably to accommodate things like the longsword, which weren't in existence at the time the original map released, if I remember correctly. And there is one thing which I know a lot of people here want to hear about, and I've had so many people ask me about this for years. Spartans. I don't know how many times I've had people ask me about Spartans. Hey, General, do you know when Spartans are coming out? People have been asking the devs this in the Discord, the Reddit. You know, it's just years and years of people asking about Spartans. Well, they might be coming a little bit sooner than you guys are expecting. Now, with that being said, you know, we talked about Spartans. I did a video saying Spartans were confirmed like 2 years ago or something like that. It's been a long time. I'd have to go back exactly see when that video was made, but it's a pretty old video. Spartans have been confirmed for quite some time. We've known that eventually they are going to be coming to the mod, but the devs have actually been actively teasing Spartans recently. In the past couple uplinks, they have made official uplinks. They've made 2 teases to Spartans, and they've encoded messages. The first one was regarding basically saying Operation Talon is a go. If you guys are unfamiliar with Operation Talon, it is basically a mission from the Halo lore in which the Spartan team went to capture a insurrectionist colonel who is a major figurehead. This was before they had Spartan armor. They basically had bodysuits, which Jedi Nick, who's a community member, he's now actually a entry dev for the mod, actually teased these bodysuits. So I'm wondering if perhaps he's actually donated the bodysuits that he's teased off previously to the mod, and they're finally getting implemented in. Perhaps they're adding in some infantry with like better stamina, or maybe they don't get affected by stamina and like they've got more health, or like the bodysuits give them a lot more health, something like that. So there's going to be a lot of people very, very excited for that. The most recent uplink gave a link to an image of Spartan armor being developed. Now, with that being said, this is a blueprint for Spartan armor, so I think it's probably likely that we won't actually be seeing Spartan armor added into the mod as of quite yet. The devs have basically, Scorch actually just said in the chat just earlier today, I believe, responding to somebody, basically that Spartan armor didn't really, oh, that's not going to end well. Spartan armor just wasn't really viable at this point in time. That it wasn't really going to work out too well with the mod. And not to hold your breath for it. Now, I kind of disagree with that. I'm not a developer. I understand that there's a lot of difficulties and the things like getting shields working, and that's a lot of work and effort. I do think it's probably pretty viable, given a few tricks and stuff like that. But the devs have definitely investigated. It's something they've looked into and considered, and I'm sure we will eventually be seeing Spartan armor maybe one day down the road. I don't know when. I don't know who's going to do it, if it'll be the devs or somebody else, but we will eventually see it. I can almost promise you guys that. I believe that's everything. There's a couple other things work in progress, but you know, they're kind of a little bit more up in the air than you know, the rest of the stuff I've just discussed. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this most recent update. I know it's mainly hot fixes, patch to, you know, fix all the broken stuff. What do you guys think about all the new content being worked on by the community, by mods like Opcan and OptraceCC, and community members like Jedi Nick? What are your guys' thoughts on all this stuff? Personally, I'm really excited for it. Can't wait to see all this content start to roll out. It sounds like probably the biggest thing we'll be getting next is the MA5K number 2, whatever its name ends up being. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys in the next one.